to episode 6 of the Publishing Persuasion, a podcast for writers, from writers. And we are just so thrilled to have an amazing guest today. We're so excited for this. Kyla is one of our great friends from Pitch Wars. And so it's just going to be an amazing episode. But first, Melanie, how are you? Melanie Schubert. Let me introduce you first. I didn't even get into introductions. Melanie Schubert, the Australian queen with the amazing outfits, always coming. She has the world famous, I forgot who they were
Kath
on your Kath and
Kel from Kath and Kim. I can't believe you haven't heard of them. They are iconic Australian humor. Or as Kath would say, Australian humor.
Humor. So, okay, I'll have to look. Are they like on Netflix?
Yeah, they are. They are on Netflix. I recently rewatched it, which is why I wound up getting earrings, because once you rewatch it, it's one of those cult classic things that it's like just kind of bogan, ridiculous humor. Like you've got to be in the right mood for it, but it was the perfect thing to watch during lockdown. But yes, good. We actually had an earthquake here 2 days ago, which never happens. Yeah, well, very rarely happens in Australia. This was like the biggest one we've had since the 50s.
Wow.
Yeah, the whole apartment was shaking around. I had no idea what was happening. I was on the toilet. I was like, I just got vaccinated on the weekend, and I was like, oh, the like side effects are finally taking as I'm sitting there on the toilet doing my business. And then it like just started escalating, and like I've never experienced one of that magnitude. So I was just like, is a giant truck rolling past? Is there like some new aircraft flying over? And then at some point you realize, no, literally everything is shaking around me. It's an earthquake. So I got off the toilet as quickly as possible, and I went and stood in the doorway. And then once it subsided, I got out into the park, because I live in an old building and I was not about to stay in here and learn that it was not structurally sound.
Oh no. Well, it sounds like you did the right thing, because that was it like it was rattling, or was it like a rolling kind of earthquake?
Everything was rattling.
Wow.
But my parents said their house was swaying. So I guess and it was noisy. That's what surprised me, that you could hear the earth rumbling. I've never experienced it like that before.
Wow.
But all safe here. Yeah. Only one of my Funko Pops fell over. My Uncle Iro Funko fell over. Tremors.
You're like, we will rebuild. We'll rebuild.
Other than that, all good. Just, plodding away. I've gotten back into writing the script for Gobsmacked. So plodding
very
away.
Cool.
It did have a little bit of exciting something, which which I can't, I don't want to say anything about it, but it was just a nice little writer milestone moment for me. So yeah. How about you?
It's funny you say that, because I just saw, I don't know if it was on Instagram, somebody put like, oh, I'm vaguely tweeting something, or like something vaguely exciting. And every time I see that, I'm always like, oh, yeah, like something's gonna happen, yay. It's always that exciting moment. So I am thrilled about your vagueness. Because I know how that feels. It's just like, yeah.
Yes. Small wins, we've got to celebrate them.
100%, because you just like, things are just wild and hard, and like, writing, just we go through these ups and downs. So like when you have even a little up, like celebrate it hardcore, get that champagne out, however you celebrate.
How have you been going? Getting any writing done?
No, honestly, no, I have not. I have not. Like this last week and a half, I have not written anything. And I think I had a moment, like a dream, or kind of like where you're half asleep, you're half awake, and it like a plot point kind of like came through, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Kind of like why my character's acting this way. So then I was like, oh shoot, like I have to go back to the beginning and tweak it, because it won't make sense as I'm writing, from now on. So I think I've been kind of dragging, like not necessarily super like amped to get back in, because once I'm in, there's going to be a lot of little tweaks that I got to do.
Yeah.
But I'm having so much fun writing this new project and thinking about it.
It's such a fun project.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just mentally I've been there, but I haven't physically been writing anything.
Sometimes it's just like that. And I think like when you're like like you were drafting really fast, and then when you do, I know that feeling when you like reach kind of a point and you realize you kind of messed something up, you want to go back, and once you've realized it, like a lot of people say, just get the draft out. But the thing is, like, I don't completely, like, I do agree with that to a point, but if it's something crucial that's going to change how the character moves through the rest of the book, and you've worked out what you want to change, it's like, it makes sense to me to kind of stop and fix it. But that I find as well that when I do that, the whole thing slows down, and it can be a while before I get back into that like speed drafting place,
Yeah, and that's where I'm at for sure. And I'm a pantser. I try to plot, but every time I do, I can't stay on the path. I can't, like, I plotted out an entire book, and I was supposed to, like, in my mind, I was supposed to be working on, but as I started writing, like, a lot of the magic was gone, because for me, a lot of the fun of writing is like finding my way through the story and like finding these little nuggets of, oh, that's why. And so I'm a major pantser, but I'm trying to do better about it, because I understand like plot point now where when I first started writing, I didn't. And like story structure. So like I'm better, and Save the Cat saved my life. So I understand like getting to that inciting incident and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I definitely like this project. It's kind of like a weird, like hybrid project where I know where I want it to go. Like I have the outline in my head of like basically the beginning, middle, and end. And so I'm just pantsing through that. So it's been fun and different. And but yeah, I definitely had to go back and need to go back. And then I think once I do and kind of slow it down a little bit, then it's just going to take off, because I wrote really fast and I basically got to like the ending scene, and I'm like only maybe like halfway through the book. I'm like, so I moved a little too fast. Yeah. So
I think I feel like hybrid is kind of perfect. That's kind of where I've moved towards now as well. And I feel like it's like that saying, learn the rules so you can break them like a pro. I feel like I had to learn the structural stuff. And I think that like the Save the Cat stuff, it's like the skeleton. I look at it like it's a skeleton that runs through my work. But I also agree with you. I find it a bit stifling to plan out everything. And when you do, I think your characters wind up doing stuff that isn't true to them. I mean, there are people who meticulously plan it out, but I think it can also go wrong when you over plan it, and it can just become formulaic. Like I've certainly read stuff where I was like, oh, this is tedious. Like I don't know why, but I'm like, something comes to mind, which I won't mention, that I read a while back. We won't shame the author. I remember reading it. I was so looking forward to it. And it was doing all the things. It was so voicey. It was like, it had all the plot points, and I was just exhausted reading it. I didn't get through it because I felt like it was over planned. So I think it's like, take it with a grain of salt, all that stuff. But if your characters are screaming for something, ultimately, as long as it's like, what's that Margaret Atwood? It always comes up in my Instagram feed. there's only one rule of writing: hold my attention. And like, I honestly think that that's the crux of everything. If people fall in love with your character, they're going to want to go on the ride with them. But having that kind of spinal structure through it tends to facilitate that.
Yeah.
That base save the cat structure. But yeah, I think tangents are good.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm so like invested in like being character driven.
Yeah.
And so if I don't like quite get the character and like their backstory, it's not gonna flow. And so when I finally click like, oh, that's why he acts this way, then I'm like, perfect. I can carry it all the way through because I know in his past, this is what happened. That's why he feels this way. And so that's where like finally clicked and I'm like, okay, so now I have to change everything. But it's great. So I feel like for me, I'm very like, Save the Cat meets Big Magic is like my writing
Yes. Style. Oh my gosh. I love that.
Well, you can use that too.
Let's welcome on. I've got our guest, Kyla, waiting to come on. So let's welcome her in. I cannot wait to chat to this amazing human. And
she is so talented. You want me to read her bio that I took part of it from her own author page.
Yeah.
And then I also have her publisher's marketplace report, which is like the big razzle dazzle announcement of her amazing book.
Dazzle baby, dazzle me.
Yes. So, born and raised in Singapore, Kyla Zhao graduated in 2021 from Stanford University with an MA in communications and BA in psychology. Well, first of all, let's just stop there. Like, what? She's amazing. This year, she was a fashion and lifestyle writer at Vogue Singapore. While she does freelance writing for Vogue, or still does freelance writing for Vogue, her day job is marketing at a tech company in Silicon Valley.
Wow.
She's just I know. So let me go down to, I know, she just, first of all, like, I just feel like I need to bow down to Kyla at all times. Like,
yes.
What? And she's amazing. And she's just fantastic. Okay, so
the psychology thing makes sense though. That's why she's like got all these wisdom nuggets that she drops.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
I just love
her. I know. I love her. So, okay. Stanford University, 2021 alum and Vogue Singapore lifestyle and fashion writer, Kyla Zhao. The Fraud Squad, which is her book, pitched as Crazy Rich Asians meets The Devil Wears Prada, in which a woman, hold on, let me, my old eyes are over here. In which my eyes went blurry for a second. I was like, wait, can I not read? Okay. In which a woman who dreams of having her own byline in a high society magazine enlists the help of, you okay? I'm terrible. Society magazine enlists the help of friends to infiltrate the Singapore socialite scene, but finds belonging to the elite set may mean losing herself in the process. So The Fraud Squad by Kyla is an absolute gem of a book. I'm halfway through and I just can't get enough of it. Like I can't relate to the characters because there's never been a sentence where I am in high society fashionista level. But I love the world that she has made and created, and I could live in it as a spectator always.
Oh, you're so glam. You're so, honestly, you're glam in anything.
No, but thank you. Oh, here, I'll show you how glam I was, because I knew that Melanie was going to come to this podcast looking fab and fierce and just the whole time. And I have a flannel on because that's just how good I look. So I have one of these.
Yes, the fascinator.
Yeah, the fascinator. My friend
you
and I
bend close so I can see the bubbles. Yeah.
So very posh of me. Yes, I'm very posh. My friend and I went to a what's it called? Downton Abbey. We went to a Downton Abbey, like one of the movie premieres. So we wore these.
I love that.
Yeah, thank you.
You're glam farm girl. It's
yeah,
a new trend.
I'm just gonna start wearing it everywhere I go. So we're so excited because Kyla is with us, and she is so talented and has so much great advice on pitch wars and just writing and life in general. So we're excited to have her.
Let's get her on.
There she is.
Hi. Wait, can you guys hear me?
Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No, you're
Hi.
legit. You've got the real headset on.
Yeah.
You're way on top of the game here. You're good.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but this is my office equipment, so putting it to good use.
All right, nice. I love it.
Well, welcome to our sixth episode.
I think so.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you for coming on.
We are excited. And I have to tell you, because I have a 14-year-old, and I was just kind of like telling her your bio on the car ride here. And I was like, yeah, we're going to interview Kyla. She's from Singapore. You know, she worked for Vogue and freelancing, and you know, she sold this amazing book. And I was telling her about your book, and she's like, Mom, like, are you cool enough to like talk to her? And I'm like,
oh my God, that is so flattering, but also so not false. Like so false. I mean, I do not feel cool at all. I have no idea what I'm
No, you are so cool. We think you're
guys,
cool.
I flooded my bathroom like just last week, and I don't have a bathroom right now. Like that's a real issue. So yeah.
Wait, explain what happened?
I don't even know what happened. Okay, I don't know what happened, but somehow water got everywhere and it went through the wall. So now we have to tear out all the cabinets. We have to fix the drywall. I just hope insurance pulls through, because this is not looking good.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, this is my first year like being a proper adult. I'm not even sure if I'm doing it right or if there's even a right way.
There isn't. I honestly don't think there's a right way to adult. I think you just get through.
But honestly, I feel like such an imposter sometimes, like, because I'm writing adult fiction. Like The Fraud Squad is an adult fiction book, but I read YA. I feel like a kid. I'm like, what do I even know about adults? Like nothing. I'm a fraud. I am the fraud.
I feel like that never changes, honestly. Like the older I get, and I feel like all the coolest people I know feel like that until the day they die. Like that.
That is reassuring.
Feel like, for me, it's not so much a case of being an adult. It's like every now and then I have like one moment in time where I'm like, I adulted. And other than that, I pretty much feel young adult, probably forever.
Young at heart. It's a Peter Pan syndrome, I swear.
100%. Like sometimes I'm like, how do I even like have children right now? Like I should not be anywhere. I'm not anywhere near kids, but I'm just saying, like, that sounded wrong. I'm just saying life is tricky. Being an adult is freaking hard. But you know what? Like, you can use that flooding bathroom situation in your next book. You can just turn it into gold.
Yeah, no, that is what I'm telling myself. Because right now, like, I'm writing an editorial about a dating app, and I'm like forcing myself to go on all these dates. And I'm not like the most like sociable person. I'm just telling myself it's okay even if I don't enjoy it. It's going to be a fun story, and it's going to be good character inspiration for my next book. So why not?
Oh my gosh.
That right there is cool.
That you can tell us about. This sounds so fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I can say because the article isn't out yet, but online dating, man, like that's so weird. It did give me an idea to write about like an online dating app story, but I realized that a lot of writers out there have already done it. I'm not sure if I can add anything new to that domain. So yeah, maybe not.
I feel like people always love to hear about this though. Like my favorite thing is to hear about the weird Tinder dates. It's just like,
guys, I have so many weird stories. I mean, Jesus, the people here. Wow.
Yeah, and you're in like Northern California, right? I mean,
Yeah.
or Bay
Like I'm
Area.
in, Silicon Valley. So I told myself that I was not going to swipe right on anyone who works in tech. And then I realized that was 90% of the dating pool. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, I am playing myself here. So yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine like Silicon Valley guys are probably a whole different breed of people. So
Yeah, it's
so
gonna be
that's
really
fun.
funny. Yeah, it's gonna be really funny if I meet my husband and then he watches this video and he's like, wow, you're on dating apps. Cool.
I hope you do. I hope you do. From the dating apps. I think that'd be even
Why
better.
not? That would be like great endorsement for the app I'm writing about.
Yeah, totally.
Totally.
I feel like this is another book to be written for sure.
Potentially.
Yeah,
I
think
love
so.
your articles. So how did you get into that, writing for Vogue Singapore?
Yeah, so it actually began when I was 16. I'm 23 now, but when I was 16, I was actually interning for another magazine called Harper's Bazaar. It's also like a fashion, women's luxury magazine. And I remember it was so weird because I was only 16. Like I haven't had a boyfriend then. I haven't even had my first kiss. But my very first article was about weddings. I was telling brides what to do. And I was like, I don't think my editor even knows how young I am. I don't think he should be trusting me to give brides to be advice. But yeah, I wrote it. It was published.
Amazing.
And then I started working at a few different magazines, and then that kind of gave me the inspiration for the Fraud Squad because my main character, Samantha, she wants to write for a fashion magazine, like Singapore's snobbiest, poshest society magazine, but she doesn't have the background for that. And so she basically commits a fraud, so to speak, to try to sneak into high society, impress the editor, and get her dream job.
I love it. I'm halfway through the Fraud Squad right now, and I'm having a hard time like putting it down, and because it's just so like I'm not a part of that world in any way, like high society and obviously like Singapore life, like nightlife. I love it so much. I
Thank
love
you.
I honestly love getting a view into other like cultures and worlds. And this is just this like beautiful blend. And I love the comps, which is Devil Wears Prada and Crazy Rich Asians, which I adore. And so those comp titles are so perfect for this book. And it's just this amazing world that I can't live in, but I can read.
Yeah.
And you write it so well, and I just
Thank you.
I love these characters so hard that I'm already like ready for the movie. I'm like, let's just have it now. I'm ready.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That is super flattering.
That's
Yeah.
the total vibe that I get from. There's just a few of, well, I mean, most of our class, I'm just like, when are Netflix making this into a movie? It's just
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, manifesting for that to happen.
Totally.
I have a candle going, and it says "manifest that shit." That
I love
got
that.
Me, so I'm
Wait,
manifesting
I love
for
that.
you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I kind of want to send all my friends that now, and also like buy a dozen for myself.
Right?
Yeah.
I'll send you where it's from.
Yeah, just give me the
got
link
me,
later, and I'll
so
order one for myself. Okay.
Yeah, I light it every time I write, and I'm just like, let's go. Like I'm manifesting this book into life right now.
Yeah, positive vibes only. Like there's only
Yes.
99 days left of 2021. I think yesterday was
Oh
like
my
the 100th day countdown, and I'm like, how did time pass so fast?
Yeah.
But yeah,
I have no idea.
this time
what
last year
happened.
we were all applying to pitch wars.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
crazy.
How crazy is that? And now
We're crazy.
Mel and I have a podcast. We have you on. You've sold an amazing book. Like, what a wild year.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it.
Yes. So for our listeners who aren't from our class, Kyla was another member of our amazing Pitch Wars 2020 class. And I just feel like all of us, we kind of like went through the fire of getting into something as intense as Pitch Wars.
Oh my God,
at
absolutely.
The start of the pandemic, when everything was so overwhelming and nobody knew what was going on. And then on top of that, you have this like moment in your writing career that you've been like waiting for. There's so much pressure. So tell us how that was for you.
Yeah, like Pitch Wars, like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so I actually found out about pitch wars like pretty late. I think I found out when I joined Twitter in September, and I only found out like maybe a week before the submissions closed or something. So didn't really know what I was doing, but sent it in anyway, got a few full requests. And yeah, at that point in time, I mean, The Fraud Squad was my first book. It was also the only book I've ever written when I entered Pitch Wars. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't really know what Pitch Wars was about. I didn't know what a big deal it was then, which in hindsight is a good thing, because if I had known how hard it would be, I might not even have entered. And if I had known about like the numbers, like I think there were 4,000 submissions our year and only maybe 100 mentees. Yeah, so if I had known how hard it would be, I might not even have dared to try. But yeah, so I'm so glad I did it. And yeah, like you guys said, it was just the most intense experience. And I think something a lot of people didn't know is that I didn't actually participate in a showcase because I couldn't finish my revisions in time. And I think this is something not a lot of people talk about, but which, I'm happy to talk more about it and share about my experience. So a lot of people end up pitch balls for the agent showcase because they think that it's like a shortcut to getting an agent, and that's something a lot of writers want. And that was something I wanted as well. But I think it became pretty clear to my mentor and I in like January that I had to do like a major overhaul. So what happened was, and it's actually so funny in hindsight, my book it's like light-hearted escapist fiction. So I was revising it, but at the same time, I was reading The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Yeah.
It's yes, yeah, it's like one of the darkest stories you could possibly imagine. So I was reading it as I was writing it, and I didn't even realize at the time, but it totally influenced the way I was thinking. And my writing became so dark, and my character became so dark. And my mentor read my first round of revisions and just like, Kyla, like your character, she's just not that likable anymore. I was like, what?
Wow.
So I read it and I was like, she's right. Sorry, I almost cussed out there. I don't know if you can do that.
It's a safe space.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was like, shit, she's right. Like my character is so dark. I don't even want to read it anymore. So yeah, so I had to overhaul my entire revision, basically start rewriting the whole thing from scratch in like mid-January. And by then there was only like 1 month left to the showcase. But if I remember correctly, we have to get all our materials ready by like the start of February. So I had 2 weeks and I just knew for sure that it wasn't going to happen. But it was really hard because everyone was getting so excited for the showcase and just felt like this was supposed to be the shining moment. You know what I mean? And we're all supposed to go through it as a class. We're supposed to see the requests come in. We're all supposed to freak out together. And I had like major fear of missing out. And like I remember over the showcase, I think it was a weekend, I'm not sure, it was like 3 days. And I was like trying to be supportive in the Discord group, but yeah, it was hard, just feeling like I was on the sidelines. I couldn't really understand what people were feeling. So yeah, that was actually a pretty difficult point in I think my pitch wars journey. And it's funny that it comes towards the end. So yeah.
Yeah.
For sharing
No, I remember I forgot that you hadn't participated.
Yeah.
Now I remember. But and I remember you like kind of announcing it in the Discord group and to people who apply to Pitch Wars, like the showcase is this like huge deal. It's that time where you showcase this little blurb, but in reality, and even for me, like I did well in the showcase. It was this really exciting experience, but I didn't end up getting an agent from the showcase. And so I think like you holding back and knowing I'm not ready, like it's not the time, was the exact right thing to be doing. And you following your gut and your like mentor's advice was like, I mean, like good job, because if it would have been me like at that time, I probably would have just done it even if I wasn't ready because of like all the pressure of pitch wars. You're just thinking, well everybody's doing it, like let me just get in there.
Right.
And but you listened to your instincts and it served you well. So
that
like
was
congratulations.
Total
Thank
adulting
you.
right there, making that is a hard
delayed gratification, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm really grateful to my mentor in hindsight for like holding me back, because I was like, I really wanted to charge like full steam ahead, but she was like, no, you got to be patient. But also eyes on your own page. Don't compare yourself to the other mentees. You don't have to be at the same pace as them. Like, yeah, I mean, everyone, like I signed my agent later than some other mentees did. Some people sold earlier than I did. Some people sold later than I did. It really just fluctuates so wildly. So yeah,
Totally.
there's
That's so
no one
true.
straight path to writing success, whatever success means.
No,
So well
that's
said.
absolutely true. Yeah. And I think it's so easy for us to compare, yourself to people in your class or who are just in the same like writing area or like
Mhm.
journey as you. Cause you see so many success stories. People are just like, like going right up and selling books and doing all these amazing things. And it's so true. Like you have to pull back and it's not a comparison game. Like it's not the same game. Like we're in
It's
this
not even a
like
game.
same
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
not. It's your own journey.
Exactly.
that,
Comparison's a thief of joy.
Yes.
That's what I always tell myself.
Totally. You took the words out of my mouth. I try to tell myself all the time, because as soon as you start comparing to other people, it really does steal your joy when you're on your own journey. And that's even like reflecting back, just the like stressing out about wanting an agent. It like cancels out I got into pitch wars and how major like thinking back to like the me of the year before and being like this huge thing, this competitive thing, how hard it's to get in. It's like trying to celebrate those moments instead of always looking forward to who has something more, who has gone further.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I totally get that. And I think it's scary how fast your goalposts can shift. Like I remember at first I like once I started writing, I was like, I would give anything just to get an agent. But then when you get your first agent offer, you're like, is this agent good enough? And then, you go on sub and then you're like, just give me any deal. And then when you get a deal, you're like, why isn't my advance as big as that other person? And then once you actually accept the offer, you're like, wait, why am I not getting as much marketing as this other order at the same imprint is? There's just no way to win. And I think one thing I'm trying to remind myself is also not compare who I am now with who I was in the past. Like there are times when I fall into writing ruts. I'm like, why can't I write as freely as I was able to just a few months ago? But like things change, life change, circumstances change, and that's just something we have to accept.
Dang, that's some good advice. I'm gonna take a note real fast.
I only wish I could take my own advice like all the time, but I'm trying to get better about it.
That's such good advice. It's so true. Like, and it's so true. Like just taking the time to just celebrate you for who you are right at this moment, like all the things you've learned and gone through that you're just like, no, this is exactly where I'm at. Like, this is where I need to be. And each step, you're learning so much and you're only going to get better. Each story's going to be told differently. And I think that's what I love so much about writing is like, I remember the first book I wrote compared to Sinner's Isle, like they were night and day. And I'm, working on a new book and learning the tricks that I learned through like pitch wars or just writing and just life. I think each step just brings you to a higher level. And I think finding that like joy in that like little pocket you're in is just so key. I love that. I'm gonna write that down. You
know what? It's like in my meditations this week, I'm doing Chopra and Oprah 21 Days of Gratitude. And she said in the last one, I'm sure it's someone else's quote, she's like, you can either live every day as if everything is a miracle or as if nothing is. And I think it ties right into that mindset of like being in the moment and just like being grateful for whatever's happening now instead of just like, well, I didn't get this. Well, I didn't get that. Well, this isn't happening now. And I think that gets you nowhere anyway. And that's why
it really doesn't.
Once you start celebrating, and that's what I love about our community so much. We all celebrate each other's success so like joyously. It's just such a delight to be part of. It's like so opposite to my earlier experiences with writing groups and stuff where people have this real like scarcity mindset and they're like competitive with each other. Man, I did some scary writing courses earlier on. I actually I'm pretty nice to everyone I meet, but I actually blocked my group chat from ages ago from a writing group because I was just like, I just I think I'm gonna stop writing if I interact with these people.
Yeah, you want to surround yourself with positive people, honestly. Because one thing I really love, like one quote I really love, is that you are made up of like the people you hang out with the most. So yeah, you definitely want to surround yourself with like good energy, people who are like positive and always looking up and not looking down.
Well said. Well
Another
said.
good quote.
Yeah.
So, so after Pitch Wars was finished and like you went into like you continued your revisions and then did you go like right into querying? Did you already have agents in mind? What was that process for you?
Yeah, so it was funny because actually during the showcase weekend, two agents like slid into my DMs on Twitter and they were like, hey, like I've been looking out for your book and I don't even know how they heard of my book. I've been looking out for your book, but I don't see that you're participating in the showcase. Like, what's up? And I just explained the situation to them and they were like, okay, we would love to see it once it's ready, send it our way. And I think I was aiming to get my book done by the March 4th Pit Mad. Yeah, so I finished it then and I decided to participate in PitMat, and I think I got a really good response. And then I just didn't really do much research into the agents I wanted to query because I don't know why, because I'm on Twitter a lot, so I feel like most of my research comes from Twitter. But the only people I really hear about on Twitter are like the YA agents. I don't really hear that much about adult fiction agents or even editors. So I pretty much just queried whoever liked my PitMat pitch and also the two agents who like DM'd me. So I sent out my queries, and I think within 2 days I got my first offer, and then things started rolling from there. So yeah.
So within 2 days of querying, you had a full offer or an offer?
Like yeah, she wanted to
That's
call.
amazing.
Yeah,
That's so amazing.
yeah, that was cool.
Yeah,
it was like an emotional roller coaster.
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine. Like that's crazy. So did you hop on the call and how did that go for you?
Yeah, it went really well. I mean, the first person I told was my pitch was mentor, and she was about to fall asleep, but then she jumped onto the Zoom call with me immediately. And I remember I was in Singapore then, so there was a whole time zone difference. So like having to factor that into like all my Asian calls got like a bit like tricky at some points. I remember I was staying up pretty late on some days. But yeah, no, like all worth it.
That is so cool.
And so it was after killer deal, as I heard. So 1,000 congratulations. And
thank you.
So stoked for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that book, it's going places. When is it coming out? What year again?
So it's technically fall 2022, but it's actually January 2023, but it's considered as fall. And I have no idea how publishing seasons work, but yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's strange, but okay. But I guess we'll just go with it. With publishing, it sounds like you just go. You go
honestly
with it.
Have
you go
to.
with the flow.
If you think too hard about it, your brain will break. So yeah.
Honestly, I think that's good advice too. Is like just don't think too hard into things. Just let it go.
Just accept it, and yeah.
Wow, that's so wild.
Flow. So tell us a bit about like for our listeners, like your writing process. What's kind of like your strength or your favorite part and kind of like the part you struggle with, or any tips you have?
Yeah, so let me think about that. So when I wrote The Fraud Squad, I was like a diehard pantser. I did not outline it at all. And that created a lot of problems for me and that's why revisions was so hard because there were just so many little plot holes I had to fix. And like if you change something in the beginning, that has like repercussions way downstream. So yeah, my writing process, I think I write better in the evenings, like starting from 5 p.m. and I'm more of a night owl, so I just like do it. And I'm very casual about it. I just kind of like lie on my bed with my computer on my stomach and I just like type away. It's all very like lazy, honestly.
I love that image.
I mean, I wish my parents felt the same way, but every time they come into my room, they're like, you have to sit up. Like, this is so bad for your back.
Just like one of those perfect cozy illustrations, that you see that's trending. And it's like, just she's laying there with her laptop and the cat's there, like a lo-fi chill hop album cover.
Oh, I mean, that's a very romanticized view of it. Usually my hair is a mess. I'm in pajamas. Yeah, and no, it's not a pretty picture, but thank you for imagining it is.
That is a pretty picture to me. I don't know. I like people in like their element. I find that like a romantic image.
Okay, I mean, I want to be like a cool writer, like go to the cafe, buy myself a drink, or like, have a candle burning. But yeah, that's just, I can see that.
Gotta have the vibe. I'm like a gremlin, and so like I like to write. I am a little gremlin, so like I like to write early in the morning, like nobody's around, and like just woke up with coffee and like no lights on. I'm just sitting here like this, and like I swear, if anybody comes, I'm like scare the crap. I just hiss.
That's
and they know
to me. I think like I'm in bed in the early hours, usually with like my husband's bath gown on, like hair all over the place, like just gross.
That sounds cozy. But I mean, yeah, like I totally admit that I'm privileged. Like, I don't have a family to take care of. I mean, Angela, you have kids, so that's why you need to wake up early, because it's when everyone else is asleep. And at a point in time, I wasn't working yet, so it, like a lot of circumstances really allowed me to write. So yeah, that's something I'm very grateful for.
No, but I think you're right.
Okay.
No, I was just going to say, like, just writing in general, like for many of us is this like amazing privilege, and until you sell your books or are making money from it, it's kind of like a hobby, right? I mean, it's part of our business. Like we want it to be this lifestyle, but like for right now, for me, it's a hobby. So like finding the time is so important. And I am lucky to have like older kids and like a husband that's kind of scared of me. So like they don't like
I love that.
So like they'll leave me alone, but like, and it's such a privilege to have that and I can't imagine having little ones. And so I think we all like are kind of lucky in this sense where we can like get this time. And just you kind of have to fight for it a lot of times, especially now, you're working and dating online a lot. So like finding that.
But that's what I was going to say. Like it's 100% a privilege, but don't sell yourselves short either, because there's no doubt in my mind how much you both fight for it and how much work and like resilience it takes to actually write through like a pandemic. And I from memory, Kyla, weren't you in like hotel quarantine for ages when you were doing pitch wars?
Oh like, yeah, no, I was quarantining in a hotel for 2 weeks. Not gonna lie, that actually made things easier. I mean, it was like a nice hotel, and like I didn't need to do any housework or whatever. I didn't need to talk to anyone. I could really just like concentrate. So yeah.
Totally.
That's pretty. I do remember watching that and being like, "Dang it! I wish I could do that." Like, I want to.
Yeah, it was like a nice little retreat. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can't. You're forced to. It's not like, oh,
exactly.
Sorry, guys. Like I can't, but you're forced to like
right
have a writing retreat.
Totally. But I think it takes a positive mindset, like you girls, to take advantage of that. I think there's plenty of people who in that environment would just be like, this is bullshit, like there's nothing to do, I don't feel like, like, and fair enough, everyone would respond differently, but I think you can give yourselves a bit of a pat on the back too.
Okay.
Definitely.
Is there a part of the process that you like struggle with, or a part that you hate?
Writing in general?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Wow. I mean, there are a lot of things I struggle with. Let me just list them out. I really struggle with like visualizing my characters. Like, I don't know. In my mind, I just like faceless entities. They're like blobs of like flesh. That's all. I have no idea what they look like. I don't even know what their hair color is. I really have to force myself to be like, okay, let me think about it. Whereas I know for a lot of writers, like the character just like springs fully formed into their mind, and I am amazed by that. And also it's such a struggle for me coming up with names for my characters. Well, it's not a struggle, it's just that I honestly don't care. Like I know there are writers who like go through like baby name books and they look up like Latin name origins and like so on and so forth. Like I didn't. I think I just looked over at my shelf. There were 2 books, and then there were 2 authors. One was Timothy, one was Samantha. I was like, yeah, they sound good enough. They can be my character's name. And that was it. And yeah, and they were only meant to be placeholder names, but they just ended up sticking. And I was like, wow, how did that happen? Another thing I really struggle with is writing romance. And I think that was life experience. Like I was 22 when I started writing the Fraud Squad. Like how much romance do I really know? And that's why my book is like women's fiction. It's not like romance. Like even when I'm writing it, I was like, oh, just let this end. I was like cringing inside the whole time. Yeah, I cannot write romance at all. So
But see, I love every bit of like Samantha's and Timothy's like interactions. I'm
okay,
like
that's
no,
really
you hit it. You hit it right.
okay. That's
And
so reassuring to me because you write like your books spicy, so hard. The chemistry insane. So okay, the fact that you said that makes me feel
oh no. Well, thank you for that. But no, I was like, give me more, give it all to me. I love it.
And don't
It's
underestimate
perfect.
the power of like those little moments. Like I'm watching this K-drama at the moment, Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha. And
Wow.
oh my gosh, like the build up to like a moment where they brush hands. I feel that shit. Like I'm gonna tell you, there's like 6 episode build up when they finally brush hands. I'm on fire because it's just like that's part of the human
They
experience.
make you work for it. They really
Yeah.
make you work for it.
Yeah, and I find it very realistic because I was like a pretty late bloomer. I didn't have my first kiss till I was 19. And so I remember the like pressure and the feeling that was like surrounding this. Like you're just so aware of the presence of the person.
Yeah.
They walk into the room and the whole room lights up. Like it's really high stakes. And K-drama does that so well. So I don't think it always has to. I think it's like, it's nice to have both. It's nice to have that like fire, like throw me up against the wall fire, but also that slow burn, like kind of like I ate your porridge and then I glanced at your lips and now I'm on fire.
Oh my god, no, that was so good. And it makes me so sad. I'm like, wait, why am I on dating apps? Because you're not gonna get a slow burn on dating apps, right? So
You need to start handwriting little notes and
I
just
saw
like give them
somebody
out.
put that on Twitter today. She's like, I'm bringing
One of my friends,
cards. Did you see that?
Yeah. Her name is Jen. Shout out to Jen. She like made business cards for herself, and if she sees a cute guy, it's just like introducing herself, like, hey, take a card. Genius.
Yeah, it
That
said
is
like,
smart.
I thought you were cute if you thought I was. Give me a text or something. It's so adorable, and
I love that.
Yeah,
I wish I had the courage to do that. I'm working up to it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You could do like a bookish version, like leave little notes in your favorite books. Like if you like this passage as much as I did.
That is such a meet cute.
Yeah. So
Melanie, you're romantic, Melanie. That's romantic. I love it.
Yeah, but not gonna lie, that's just not gonna happen with the tech bros in my area. Like first of all, I think all they read is self-help non-fiction books or like biographies of Steve Jobs and Elon Musk or like how to build a startup 101. Like,
oh my gosh, that is like so dead on. I can only
I am not gonna have a meet cute like that with any of the tech bros. It's just not gonna happen. So yeah.
Oh no.
You need to come a little more north. Come more north. Northern California.
If Hometown Cha-Cha-Cha is our measuring bar, you need to go to a small seaside town in Korea and make friends with all the old people, and then you'll meet the love of your life.
Okay, the moment the pandemic is over, that's where I'm going. A small seaside town.
I mean, that's where it usually happens. So you might have to give it a try. I think it's worth a shot. I'd like to know, like, what's next for you? Like, what are you? So you're working on revisions right now, and then what happens from here?
I actually have not started on revisions because I haven't gotten my edit letter yet. It's just like a really busy time for publishers. So but I'm gonna get it soon, and once that happens, I'll start on revisions. But I'm also brainstorming ideas for my second book. It has to be like in the same genre, so it has to be women's fiction. I don't really know what it's about yet. But I think I've pretty much decided that it's not going to be related to the Fraud Squad. So it's not going to be a sequel. It's not going to be a spin-off. I think for now, I'm happy just like keeping it as one book. But yeah, so that's what's next for me. And also, I just started a new job. So I think that's taking up a lot of my time. So writing is kind of taking a back seat, which is fine. You know, like it goes through ups and downs. And right now, it's kind of like a down phase.
Yeah. And I think just knowing that life sometimes has to take, the front seat and being okay with that, and not like putting the pressure on yourself of just like, I gotta do this, I gotta keep writing. When you have life, you gotta do your job, you have all these, commitments. So just like I always say, like giving yourself grace. Yeah, and you're like not even at home. Well, yeah, you're in California, so there's a whole big adjustment there.
That is true.
I'm sorry, just kidding.
Well, I know we're right in the thick of pitch wars. Do you have any advice for pitch wars hopefuls? I know a lot of our listeners are going to be entering pitch wars this year.
Yeah, well, first of all, do it, but I don't know if pitch wars will be like the registration window will have closed by the time this is out. But also, like, don't make the agents showcase like the end all be all of entering pitch wars. Like, I genuinely think that most people's books became stronger after entering pitch wars, and I think there's no such thing as wasted writing. Everything you write helps you get better as a writer. I like so strongly believe in that. And you learn how to revise, you learn how to like tear your book apart, you learn to be okay with acknowledging that what you have right now isn't good enough and that you have to go back to the drawing board. Like, that is emotionally daunting. But yeah, you learn to be okay with all those, and also just do it for the community. Like, it's crazy. I mean, Angela, I did not know you lived in California. We should have met up. Like, wait, how did I not know that? Yeah, I was like, wait, okay. So we have to meet up. And like I said, the community, I honestly think that's the best part of entering pitch wars, even more than, okay, I love my agents. I don't want to say even more than my agent. But yeah, the community, it's great. Really love it. Can you believe that we're all still friends? I honestly thought that pitch wars was gonna die out like after the showcase and all that, but no.
It just gets better, and I feel like
really
it's
does.
a writing family. Like, I know it's kind of really cheesy, but I do. I'm just like, I feel like once you have this kind of community, you feel like you can actually make it in this industry, and it is a scary industry, and there's so many points along the way where you could give up because there's a lot of waiting and there's a lot of rejection. And what you said, I got shivers, because it's just encouraging each other through those moments when it seems like something bad's happened or nothing's happened, but realizing it's just all part of it. Like, that's not a signpost that you shouldn't be a writer if XYZ happened, it's just leveling up, constantly polishing. It might need like 20 drafts, but it doesn't mean the book is bad, and totally, this community has just been incredible in that way. So I'm so glad you're part of our community.
Thank you. I'm so glad we're all part of it.
I just can't believe 40 minutes has gone past. It's been an absolute delight chatting with you today.
Yeah, honestly, the time just flew past. It did not feel like 40 minutes at all.
I know. So thank you for making the time to.
Thank you for having me.
And I hope you'll come on again. Well, let's have
my gosh,
on again when your book launches. We can scream about it from the rooftops. And
that feels like so far away, but yes, I would love to.
Yeah.
It'll come so fast. It'll be just wild.
Yeah. Wow.
Pretty soon we're going to be celebrating your book cover, and I just can't wait. The Fraud Squad is an amazing book. I just can't wait for everybody to get their hands on it and just to read all of your words from here on out.
Thank you so much. That's really very sweet.
Of course. No, thank you.
Okay.
Wait, was that a goodbye bing, or was that
no, that was my husband's work.
I was like,
okay, honestly, the countdown on Zoom always gives me so much anxiety. It's like a missile countdown. I'm just like, oh my God, it's happening.
That's why for the first time I was like, I'll start winding up when I see a minute, because I can always edit out the bit when it cuts off. So if it cuts us off, thank you so much. It's been honestly the best. And just nice to chat and cheer together.
Yeah, I mean, I watch all your podcasts, but honestly, like, just having this like be live, like your accent, Mel and Angela, oh my God, like, whoa, you guys are real. And you guys are like amazing.
So the incredible Kyla Zhao, such an honor to have her on. And honestly, I'm just so grateful for every guest we've had. And it's just, she dropped some really beautiful wisdomous writer journey truths that I know are going to resonate with a lot of our listeners, because they resonate with me. And it's nice to know that everybody kind of feels the same on this journey.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that that's what's so amazing about like getting to chat with other writers on this podcast is kind of seeing no matter where you are at in your career, like at the baseline, we're all basically the same. Like we all just want to be creative and get our words out and write the best things we can.
I just think our community has been, I'm like, I know I can go places because my people believe in me, you know, and that's powerful.
Yes.
You know, once you find people like that.
I love it. I think it.
Thank you for being my people too.
I know. It's so special. I love it. No, for sure. And I love that now, like Kyla is a part of our special family and we get to just chat with her because she's way cool.
That sounded like kind of like, the bones are in the attic, Melanie. Kyla is part of our special family now.
She's with us now.
You are born on Halloween.
I know.
Something witchy this way comes.
It is me. And now Kyla has no choice. She's one of us.
Well, thank you to our listeners for joining us for another episode of the Publishing Persuasion. And I'm so glad I remembered. I want to open it up that if you have any questions you'd like to hear us discuss, and that is what I forgot. We did have a question from one of our listeners this week or last week about aging, the decision to age up a manuscript. So we'll quickly touch on that because I, as you know, soul swapped, began as a YA, and then I began to do a few queries, and I just something was off. And then thinking about it, why did I age it up to adult? One of the main reasons for me was my protagonist was engaged. It was kind of a no-brainer looking back that it wasn't going to quite hit the marketing. It's hard to market a 19-year-old and it does happen. And when I wrote it, I was like, this happens. People get engaged young. Like, you know, there's a market for, and then I was like, but what's wrong? Why wouldn't you age it up? There's a bigger market for it in the adult market than YA. So that was one of my main reasons, and kind of having the feedback from you girls as well, and just being like, this could totally, like both you and Para were kind of like, this could totally be adult. And then so grateful to have had Court's Eyes on it, who's obviously been writing adult romance, and like to know that it didn't sound too YA, like it still was hitting that adult mark. But what about you? Because you also aged Sinner's Isle up from YA to adult.
Yeah.
What was in it?
And it's funny. Yeah, I think for me, because I always just assumed I was a young adult writer because the first book I wrote was completely YA. And so I think I just assumed that's just my lane. And I love like the upper YA kind of like crossover.
Yes.
But really like it should have probably never been a young adult novel. Like it should have always been an adult fantasy. And I just assumed like, oh, they could be that upper YA crossover. Like I figured that was where it fit. And it really could fit in that like crossover area because my characters are basically like, you know, 19 to like mid-20s. Yeah. And so it was kind of in that like awkward stage. And so I just figured YA is so popular, like that's where I want to go. And it's funny because as soon as I started to query, one agent who I was like, oh, if I could, like, she was a dream agent, and she had my full, and she kind of read through it, and she said, you know, I'm going to pass. She's a young adult agent. I'm going to pass, but if you get through this first batch of queries and don't find an agent, consider bumping it up to adult.
Really?
And so, yeah, which I thought,
I didn't know that.
no, I was like really resistant against it.
Yeah.
Because young adult is so popular that it's kind of like that's where everyone's at. Like that's where you see all these amazing books. And but then as I finally found my agent and we started going through revisions, she kind of pretty much brought it up. I mean, it was already planted in my head, but she brought it up, was just like, why don't we, she was just like, I was just thinking about this book and I think we need to just kind of like go full, like, let's bump it up. Let's add even like more heat to it. And let's, like, woo. And so that's where we went. And it honestly, it made so much more sense because they really aren't young adults. Like, they're adults that are younger, but they are not young adults. Like they were not in that same kind of,
totally.
That wasn't where they were at in their lives at this point. Like, so that's where it went. And it makes more sense.
I agree. And I think like, I totally understand that there's kind of a beautiful community around YA. And once you start to identify as a YA author, and like, I know for me, I was told my writing voice is very YA. So then I was like, oh, well, I'm YA. So then you think that possibly it's not your genre, but the adult books that I do read are very voicey. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that it's misconception that adult books are long and boring. And I think it's becoming, in general, books are getting more voicier. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's
for
thing,
sure.
but I just feel like the books I'm picking up now that are holding my attention, even like I've said that before about, how I love my K-drama, but even though that's technically adult, it feels very YA pacing wise, high stakes, strong voice. And I mean, just across the board, I feel like that's always what's going to sell. But I would advise that, like, if you're going to make a decision to age it up, I would not have made that call myself, for our listeners listening. That was because I had several trusted people, you girls, just being like, yes, this could really work as an adult book. And then just even still, I did through Manuscript Academy. I got Linda Camacho to look over it. And for me, that was another touchstone of like, is this fitting the mark? So I would recommend doing something like that as well. If you're not sure, the people you're bouncing off are in that genre, or if they're able to give you that feedback. But it's just one of those things you have to feel out, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Feel out. And like what you said, get advice and kind of, and go with it and go with your gut always. And be open to the idea of maybe I should, and not just always being like, nope, I am young adult. That is it. Cause that's how I always thought. And I was like, no, like just get with the program. This is where it's supposed to be. But no, and now that I'm like a kind of like more trying to do more adult, like fantasy novels, I'm having so much fun. And I'm finding like even just reading more of adult fantasy or just adult contemporary, whatever it is, like it's really great genre. And I think we've just been missing out because young adult is so strong and there's so many amazing young adult novels, and the pacing, I think, like you said, to me has always been like, if I'm not like on the edge of my seat, I don't want to really read it. But I think adult is getting there for sure. And I love it.
There. It's there. I think I think it's there. I just haven't been tapping into it because I didn't realize that adult was like stepping up its game. And like,
I love it. Yeah. And it gives me everything I need in the book. Because, we get a little bit of the yay, a little bit of the woo, and the action too. So
what's the yay, Angela? Please explain the yay.
Am
I going to need to R-rate this? I don't know what you're doing with that pen, girl, but say thank you to our listener. I'm sorry, I should have checked her name. Thank you for that question. And yeah, please do, if you want something for us to discuss, or there's a burning question you have, we're happy to answer questions.
Yes, that's awesome. I love that idea. We're gonna have to start doing that every episode because that's fun.
I agree. So as always, you can find both of us on Instagram. We pretty much live there. I'm at Melanie_Schubert_writer.
Yes, and I am at Angela Montoya Writes, and we will put all of Kyla's information on our Instagram account of Pub Persuasion. So definitely check out everything about her. Find her on Twitter because I know she's on there a lot, and Instagram, and she is just a star.
Kyla Jiayi Zhao, ZHAO. So yeah, come find her, come hang out and join the conversation and the writing community. And until next time, when we have my Pitch Was 2020 mentor, the amazing Arti Bessam. I feel like 40 minutes is not going to be enough for all the genius that is rolled into that amazing human. And she has a lot of pots on the stove, so it's going to be
I'm excited.
Yeah,
I'm excited because her artwork is crazy. She did artwork for you, and so I'm excited to chat with her and pick her brain just about everything.
Yeah, she's a genius. So tune in next week and subscribe if you haven't already, and always tag us in your posts because we love it.
Yes,
and that's it. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you guys next time.